Hello guys, and welcome back to the Folklore Hiking Stick Workshop. Some of you may remember these two sticks, or you could almost call them staves. They're really thick, but they've been kicking around for a long time, and I've got them because I want to do my Valhalla model, which is a Viking artwork inspired hiking stick, and I put like an axe handle type end on the shaft, so I call it my battle axe model. But yeah, they've been kicking around for a long time and I haven't had time to get to them, but today's the day. I'm going to go down into the woodshed where I make all my dusted mess, and I'm going to make some more sawdust and shavings from these. So we'll go down there. I'll set myself up. I still have to get set up. I've got all my tools up here. We've had to do deliveries this morning, and I've only just finished oiling 2 custom sticks for customers that needed doing. So I do have a spare moment to get these done. So I'm not going to do the complete build. All we're going to do is rough out, carve out and sand out the battle axe shape to these to how I want them to be. Everything else like the artwork, putting the copper tip on and finishing, that is not going to happen on this particular video. So let's get straight into it. So here's the 2 sticks I've just oiled, and they've really soaked in the oil and it's really gone right into the core of the wood. They'll need another coat, and I probably could get another coat on in a few hours time, but that's the main priority. Get the custom orders out the way. That's what really is basically my bread and butter, what generates my income. Everything that I keep on eBay, as you can see, that's looking extremely bare there now, so I've got to replenish that. And these that I've been getting ready for what feels like forever for a craft fair, and I've got to start another batch, and I'll probably start those today. You're probably thinking, well, nothing else has happened. Well, it has. I've put the copper tips on, as you can see. It's now to do the wood burning and finishing. But as you can probably gather, my custom orders always have to come first. But yeah, those will be started on today. And a log carving there, that's in progress as well at the moment. I've still got to crack on with this one. I've only really got it roughed out. But yeah, that's not going to happen today. That's just a side art project. Now it is raining, so I've got to clear the woodshed out before I can get in there. It's not very pleasant today. Mist, fog, and it's drizzling with spats of heavy rain. So with those weather conditions, I obviously can't sand or do anything outdoors, so I've got to get rid of these bikes and clear an area for me to be able to work under cover. This woodshed is becoming a bit of a dumping ground at the moment, but anyway, I'm going to clear it out, get it ready, and we'll start carving out these battle axes. Right, I'm set up now. I have some room to work. I've got the axe handle just as a kind of like a rough guide to what I'm trying to recreate. Got my tools, pretty basic really. My drill, which covers a multitude of tasks and jobs for me, including sanding. And yes, I've bought new sandpaper, and I've actually sorted out and thrown away all the old stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised some of it that was in there has been with me for a good couple years. Right, let's have a look at these sticks. They're as straight as I want them. You can see I've already pre-stripped the bark. That was done weeks ago. And they come up to a really nice generous size at the top. And I've got plenty of meat there to work with. It's just trying to orientate the stick so that when I carve in the sweeps, it kind of looks natural in the stick and it doesn't take away too much meat at the top. So as you go down the girth of the rest of the stick, it looks kind of out of place, out of kilter and a bit stupid. So I'm just having a look and gauging how I want to work with these and orientate myself, and then I'm going to start drawing what I want to do on it. Right, I've got my overalls on, so that means business. But yeah, it's really gloomy. I can't do much about it. Even being outside of the workshop, just being undercover, everything has got that really gloomy haze. Right, what I've done first is the most important thing. How does this stick feel in my hand? Which way does it lend that I want to use it? And that's quite important first off the bat, because you can carve a beautiful axe handle into a stick and then you pick it up and it really doesn't feel right and you realise it should have been 90 degrees the other way. So first of all, determine how it feels in the hand and how it looks. I've already done that. I've put a cross there which denotes me looking at it. That's got to be up facing me, and I put a B with an arrow. That's going to be the bottom of the stick there. You might be able to see what I've done there. It's only reference for me, because if I've got a quantity of sticks that I'm doing, I'm only doing 2 down here, but if I've got a quantity, my mind can get sidetracked and suddenly I'm left wondering which way is up and which way is down. Right, so from here, all I'm doing is just laying it down and getting the profile of the axe in my eye to what I've got here. Like I said, when you're carving the axe handle, it's all about trying to get the proportions right. You carve a beautiful axe handle, but the whole stick looks out of kilter from then onwards down. It all becomes pointless. Right, let's have a look. Let's get this axe. Put a bit more of an angle. So there you go. That's what I'm going to try and copy. That's what I've got to copy it onto. And for quick reference, if I'm looking at it like that, I know I'm dead on and run that almost like a string line straight. I'm not going to lose my orientation. And B for the bottom. That's going to be the bottom part of the handle. So coming up here, first things first, I'm going to try and get these kind of angles. And you can see they're quite sharp. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to take a piece off here. And will that give me, I think I need to be a bit higher up. There. So I'm going to take that corner bit off there. But now I want to try and get that sweeping bit that comes under a bit of like a knuckle there. But I've got to leave enough room because it obviously dips down into it as well. So if I'm not careful, trying to copy this on a stick, I could lose a lot of meat there. So how am I going to do this? Right. Up here, I think I could lose... Come back this way a bit more. I could lose a little bit off the top there. So I could lose a bit there. Gently bring it out over here, even it out. I will do this better for you so you can see the design before I cut it. Now I'm going to get that under sweep, and that will be somewhere, I think, needed a bit more room. There. Let's have a look. I'll colour it in and we'll have a look. Right, I'm going to cut that corner bit off, which represents that bit there. I'm going to take off the axe handle. That's the first bit. Right. Is everything lined up? Yep. And I'm using a coping saw for this, because quite simply I want to do it with a little degree of accuracy. Right. And there we go. We've got that first initial cut there. Obviously it's all got to be cleaned up, but you can see we're on our way. I'm now attaching a rotary sanding pad with 60 grit in it, so it's going to remove a lot of wood fast. It's quite aggressive. And here comes the rain again. I haven't cut any size off the actual stick yet, because if I have a disaster up this end, this stick is long enough for me to have a second go at it and still be within the postal or courier's length limits. So yeah, I'm getting ready now. Right, you can see I've well, basically sanded or carved out a nice big shallow flat groove there, and you can just see, if it focuses, there you go, you can just see what I've got there. Bring you down on this profile. Now I'm going to go underneath and do the other one, which is going to be slightly more over on this side. Remember, take little off at a time, because you can't replace it. And I'm trying to use that as a template. One thing I will say, you've got to, from this point onwards, from when you've taken that bit off there, you've got to keep all your profiles straight and true and square. You don't want to be carving that off at an angle like that, because it just won't look right. You've got to try and match that angle. That's why you always cut that one first, because all your carving out and sanding from here will be using this to stay true. So let's get this one turned around and have a look at what we're going to do next. There. Bring that forward. So I'm going to have to come back a bit further on this one. Right, what's that looking like? There. That's looking better. Right, tighten it up. Right, you can see I've started to get that quite nice now. I will do some final sanding, but we're just roughing out the first stages of shaping this handle. Obviously it's really dark in here, but you can start to get to see the profile I'm starting to get. And obviously it's inverted to the way you would hold it. Right, you can see we've just started to create that shape. I've got to actually sand this on the outside now and actually start bringing some of this down. You can't go stupid by taking too much wood out to exaggerate those curves, because it does have to be a functional hiking stick and it has to look right as it goes down into the rest of the shaft. All we're trying to do is mimic a axe handle on the end. So next stage, now we've got that, is to do some sanding and round everything off, take the squareness off everything. So this is what we have so far, and it's all about trying to keep a sense of proportion. And when I start sanding and rounding things off, I'll bring it back into shape. As you can see, I've got that club end starting to develop, but you can't go too extreme, because quite simply you don't have a lot of wood that you can start carving these huge bends in. Go, matching it up a bit more there. Alright, let's start shaping this. Well, all the kids' bikes have been kicked out of the woodworking area. But what a miserable day. What a miserable day. Look at that. Look at that good Cornish mist and fog and rain. Can't even see across the other side of the valley. Right, coming back in here, getting out of the rain, I'm going to swap out a 320 sanding disc for something really aggressive. And this is a 60. It has been used, so it's probably more like an 80 now, but it's still quite aggressive. And what I'm looking to do is just actually take the majority of the knots and the surface scars off this piece of wood, and then we'll see what's underneath, and I'll go straight up to a softer sanding disc. All I want to do now is get a rough sanded shape, because I may have to come back and shallow some of these grooves out just to keep the profile. There you go, we've got the rough shape there now, and we've got a nice sort of swan neck of the battle axe handle joining into the shaft of the hiking stick. And it's not so aggressive that it looks stupid, but you can actually see the shape there that we've actually carved into basically a straight piece of stick. Right, we haven't lost any strength, because if I run it from the top profile, you can see we've still got the width. even though we've took some of the actual meat off the top and bottom. It's kind of giving a bit of an optical illusion that you've got an axe handle there. I'm going to drill a lanyard hole here and countersink it by burning it out. And then we'll get right back here and start shaping where the copper tip will go on. Right, let's get this lined up. I'm going to put the lanyard right there. It's all square. This is where I don't want to mess up all the aesthetics, how it looks. Right, some of you guys are probably wondering what I was doing there. Well, I don't use a router to route out, or a countersink driller to create the hole. I've moved over to that method I'm using there, which is like a finishing stone. Quite simply, it creates a nice smooth cavity in a bowl shape, but on top of that, it actually burns the wood. So when I stain this, I get a very nice burnt black charcoal look, which is really attractive. As strange as that might seem, it's probably one of the most attractive methods I've seen for countersinking a hole. It gives it that real authentic look about it, because compared to the stained wood, it really pops out and it draws your eye to it. I'll let you have a look. So there you go. As you can see, it creates an absolute perfect with no splits, and it countersinks that hole. I've gone nice and deep, and that black really does pop out when you stain the wood. The only thing you've got to bear in mind, you're creating friction, sawdust in wood. You do not want to have a fire happen in a woodshed, your workshop, or anywhere else that you're doing anything like this. But it's my method that I'm now using, and I've adopted to do all my lanyard holes. And like I said, the coloration of that black burnt charcoal wood really pops out on stained wood, or not stained, oiled wood. So we've got this rough shape here, and I'm looking at it and I'm quite happy. Could I have exaggerated it a little bit more? Possibly, but I didn't really want to take too much more away from there, because it flows into the girth of the rest of the actual stick. Not too bad. I haven't lost too much girth, and it does look nice. Right, obviously I've got to go into the finishing, sanding and rounding it all off, same as the shaft. But I'm going to have a cup of tea and some dinner, and I'm going to come and get that sorted, that end. Well, the weather's really poor, and I'm glad I'm in under some cover. It'd be better if I was in the woodshed wood burning, but I've got to get these here done. They've been kicking around, like I said. I'm going to reduce this down to 22mm. I could put a 28mm, and I have done when I've been requested to do so, but this model I do take down, you know, as a rule, 22mm copper, about 3 inches of copper tube on this, which is adequate because this isn't designed for bushwhacking or anything like this. It's one of my 2 heavier models, Bushwhacker being number 1 and this being the second, but this one's designed for going more like dog walking or a little trip around the woods. It's not a long distance hiking stick, and it's not built for smashing down vegetation like the Bushwhacker. So 22mm does its job. That's all it really needs, and it does look quite nice when you go from a very big thick piece gauge of wood and you chamfer it right down into that copper when it's polished up. So I'm going to make that happen, but you can probably see I've had a cup of coffee, something to eat, and enthusiasm is a little bit low, but I've got to crack on. And the reason I'm using the spoke shave, quite simply, to cut down on sawdust. The more I can remove before I start using aggressive sanding, the less dust. And even though I'm out here, I don't like dust. Well, there we go. That's in shavings rather than sawdust. And I've got it brought down, and I can get the rest of it sorted with the rotary disc. And there you go. Not too much to take off and clean up now. Well then guys, I hope you enjoyed coming along and seeing me shape out a battle axe handle styled hiking stick. You can go slightly more extreme with the curve if you've got the material. You always have to remember that the stick has to be functional. So on that particular stick, that was as far as I really wanted to go with that curve without removing too much material. I might be able to do a slightly more exaggerated curve on the next one, but I've got to make that happen. I've got a load of stuff to do, not only here indoors with the family, and then later on tonight in the workshop. But for me, all I'm going to say now is till next time, take care, stay safe, and hope to catch you guys on the trail.